Hi everyone, I'm Carol Keller, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Illinois in the US, coming to you today for my usual Tuesday afternoon live. I'm going to admit I'm a little tired today. That time change is not treating me well and not sleeping well on top of it. So I'm a little sleepy today, but I'm here and I'm excited to be here. And I hope you're here watching. I'm going to turn my camera around right away so that we can get started with the project. I actually have two things to show you today. So I told you I would be using the Waves of the Ocean collection, which I did. And I started off deciding, I was having trouble designing, which sometimes I do. And so I decided I wanted to do a scrapbook page. Sorry, let me just fix that just a little bit. And so I did finally decide, or I finally did design this page. See, I told you I was tired. But I also, let's see if you make sure you can see the whole thing. And I also, in the meantime, designed a card, and I will explain why, but this is the card, and it's a companion because I wanted to use this beautiful blue foil paper over my wave, and I had seen someone take the insert pieces and use them on a card, and I had cut out a white one just like this, and I decided to use it inside on the card. So that's what I did. So I think I'm going to start off with the card. I don't think we're going to have time to really get to both, but I will show you, maybe I will start with the scrapbook page and I'll show you both. And if we go a little long today, I guess that's okay. Or I may just show you how to do some things but not complete them. And I'm starting with just a basic white piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. And I did do some cutting, so the beginning will go quickly. Where are my pieces? Here they are. So first of all, this is the die cut I was talking about. There are two. Let me show you, first I guess, let me show you the collection. The Waves of Inspirations, this is the stamp set. And then there are companion dies, the Waves dies. And this is what they look like cut out. So one will cut out the image that's in the stamp set. And it doesn't, the waves do not cut out this. They're meant to be companions to that. And then a couple of label dies, a couple of birds, some clouds with some definition. And there you have it. Those are the dies and the stamp set. These will be available in the new catalog that comes out in May, the new annual catalog. The rest of the suite, you'll be seeing these a little later for the card, are these wonderful Rhinestone Waves Basic Jewels with lots of different colors. So I'll move those aside. And then we have our designer series papers, bold, bright colors and designs. I love them. So this is the front side, if you will, giving the feeling of water, as you can see. And then on the other side, some companion coordinating colors and similar designs. And so we're using a couple of those today. And then in addition to that, we've got these gorgeous foil sheets. So 2 in Coastal Cabana, 2 in Night of Navy, and then I didn't take them out of the package, but there are also 2 in silver. So those and the designer series paper and the rhinestones are only available until the new annual catalog comes out or while supplies last. So if you like them, you're going to want to order them now. And I did hear that we are going to be experiencing a little bit of an increase in shipping starting on April 1st. So if you want to order them, I would suggest ordering them this month before that shipping goes up. All right, and so what I did, I cut a 3-inch piece, 3-inch by 12-inch piece of the designer series paper, or 7.5 centimeters by 30.5. And I grabbed one of the dies that I don't often use from these gorgeous scalloped contours dies. I use these dies a lot, but I don't often use this one, and I was thinking it would make a good wave. So I put it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm pretty sure you can use the mini for this too. And I just set it up like this. Well, I started from this end. So I set it up like this and cut, and then just moved it down, whoops, this way and cut again. And then there's just that little piece at the end. So I moved it a third time and just did that little piece. So it's a little tricky at the end, but it's not bad. The first time I did it, it came out really easily. The second time I had to finagle with it to set it up. And so at first I was going to just kind of throw this away. And then I thought, well, we'll use it at the top. So that's going to go at the top of the page. And I did it this way because I wanted the feel of waves. Actually, before we put that down, we're going to do some stamping. So I've got that great wave stamp from this set. And I'm going to bring in, what color did I use? I think I used Pacific Point. So I'm going to grab my Pacific Point ink pad. And because it's a big stamp, we're going to bring ink to stamp and do it this way. Get some good coverage. And then I'm going to close this for now, even though we'll need it again later. And then I basically set this up where I knew it would be along the bottom. And I wanted the wave to be starting sort of underneath it. And I think this time I'm also going to tilt it a little bit so that it looks more like it's coming up from the water. So about like that. And there's our wave. And then we're going to put this, yeah, so it looks more like it's coming up out of the water. It's a little bit off on that side, but I think it's going to be okay because we can cover it up a little bit with this. Let's see. Maybe we'll try it again. That's what two sides are for, right? Maybe we'll just flip it over because I'm not sure that I like the edge that way. So you know what? We'll do it the way I did it originally. I'm going to ink that up one more time. Grab that Pacific Point because I think I didn't like that it stops abruptly in the middle, but I think I like it less with the opening on the edge, and I need to move it down just a little bit. So I'm going to move this up so I know you can see it. I'm going to line it up again, and all I want to do is just have it so that there's good coverage this way. So when I put this up, it will overlap. I think that will be, yeah, that will be much better. Okay, so then we're just going to put this down. See how it overlaps? So it looks like that's coming right up out of the water. That's the idea. That's what I was going for. So I'm going to grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, put some on the back. And I did try using my Stampin' Seal the first time, but it's hard to line up when you're going edge to edge. When you're using the Stampin' Seal, it's better because it's hard to reposition. It's much better to use your liquid glue because then you can make sure you lay it down edge to edge and flush with the bottom. All right, that looks good. Smidge this way. Got a little bit of glue on me, or a little bit of ink on me, I mean. And then this, we're going to kind of slip right in there, and I'm going to move it closer to the edge. So for this, I tried I do have an adhesive sheet on the back, and I had trouble getting it off, but I'm going to try this because I see a little piece of it started here. I was having trouble using my Take Your Pick tool to pull it up, and it was pulling into the paper, so I ended up just gluing it down with multi-purpose liquid glue, but it looks like this is going to work. As long as you have a starting place to take the paper off, in theory, it should work, but I don't know. I was having issues last night, and of course, I'm happy to say that on camera, this is working much better. This makes it so much easier and less messy than using the multi-purpose liquid glue. So I do like it. And then there's a piece in here we're going to pop out. So that doesn't belong. All right, it feels sticky. I think we're good. So I'm just going to tuck it under a little bit like I said. So it doesn't really matter that I glued it down. There's room, and that's good. All right, and it's not perfect overlap, but I don't want perfect overlap. And then we're going to burnish it to make sure that glue adheres. I think I might have not taking the sheet off there, but I can put a dot of glue on there later. And then the same thing with the top. We're just going to take that multi-purpose liquid glue and put some on each of those little scallops. I'm pretty sure I forgot to get a piece of Pacific Point to do my mats for my pictures, but I think I'll just show you what I did. Put this right along the top. All right. And so that's the basic layout of the page. And then let me bring it in again. So I did cut 2 mats also in Pacific Point, since that's in the paper and the ink. And I cut them at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, so you could put a 4 by 6 picture and it's still matted in there. And then if you can see, hopefully you can see the shininess. I used that same blue foil paper for the words up and 10, and I used a different designer series paper from the set for surfs and hang. And before I did both of those, I put adhesive sheets on the back. Let me bring the one in. So I've got the words here again. I just put the adhesive sheets on the back and use the Playful Alphabet letters, love these, and cut them out. And for the apostrophe, there's a little equal sign in there, so I cut that once and then used one here, and we'll use one on the other one. And so to give you an idea, I do have a scrap of Pacific Point. That's a little bit small, but to give you the idea, so I put one this way and then put the letters for hang 10, which are partly out already. And again, they've got adhesive sheets on the back. And I did have a much easier time getting the adhesive off the backing of the letters for whatever reason. But you're just going to, and I didn't want to worry about having to make them exactly even. Oops, that is an extra one. So at first I was going to do everything in blue. Anyway, just to give you the idea, like I said, I'm going to bring this back in because I purposely put the letters this way and that. So I didn't want to have to worry about lining them up exactly. And I thought it gave the idea of the rolling of the waves. So that's what you're going to do. You're just going to put your adhesive sheet on the back, run them through your mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Remember, that's 20% off till the end of the month too. Fabulous sale. And then you take your pick tool and just lift it, put it almost parallel just to pick up that paper a little bit. And then you lift it right off and put it on your project. So it comes right off. I'm not going to take the whole thing off right now because I want to, and then you stick it on there, but I don't want to do it yet. So that's the idea. And that is the scrapbook page basically for you. And then, like I said, I did the same thing with the blue foil sheets, and I have the word 10 and do the same thing in the word up. So that is the scrapbook page. And then for the card, I'm going to bring that back in so you can see it. So here's the card. And on this one, the only thing that I didn't use from the collection is the designer series paper. But I have, and this is what I did for the envelope. So we'll move that aside. I've got a piece of Balmy Blue this time. Grab my bone folder. And then, so this time I want to, I may not do the whole card. I may not have time again, but I want to show you my process. So this is what I did. I've got all the pieces in here, and some of them are very, very tiny. But I started off with that white. Again, put an adhesive sheet on the back before I ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So again, I'm just going to peel this off. Yeah, just going to lay that right along the edge. And I did not stamp the wave because where it's going to be, it would be covered up. We're going to put that down, Again, burnish it with your fingers. Make sure that adhesive catches everywhere. And then from the pieces from when I die cut that blue foil wave are all in here. Actually, I've got everything. I've got my clouds and everything that I die cut. I still have a piece in there, but I'm not going to put everyone in, so it's okay. So like this piece fits right in here. And let's see. Oh, this time I can see where the paper is, so I can peel that right off. Excellent. It's much easier if you can use the adhesive sheets. And like I said, I was having trouble yesterday, but at first, and then it was fine after that. Let me see. Fit that right in there. So it looks like I pulled it apart a little bit, so it's not fitting in tight like it did on this one. But again, you're going to be covering it up with the other Wave and Balmy Blue, so it's not going to matter too much. And we'll just take off. I'll put some of the big pieces in. What I did yesterday, though, was because I was having trouble taking the adhesive sheets off, I put just multi-purpose liquid glue on the back, and it was kind of messy. And you know me, I'm not a big fan of mess. So I would recommend, let me just get that in there. I would recommend that instead of putting your multi-purpose liquid glue, if you're using it on the back of the blue foil sheets, put it in the openings instead, especially for these really small pieces, which I do have. One of them is right here. I think it goes right there. So if I can't get the adhesive sheet off of that, which I don't even think I'm going to try, I'm just going to put the littlest dot of liquid glue right there and then put it in. And so it's a little less messy, because the one thing that happens is if you get glue on the top of those blue foil sheets, it makes them a little less shiny. So, see, and you can fit them in just like that. So, and then once they're all in, then you're going to put this one over. And again, I've got an adhesive sheet on the back, so it's just going to lay right over like that with that blue peeking through. Isn't that pretty? I don't remember which demonstrator used those inside pieces for her card. That's where I got the idea from. She just used the inside pieces. She just used the scraps. She didn't use the outline, but I decided I wanted to pair them in different colors, and then I really like the look of it. And so for the rest of the card, I can certainly show you that. I stamped this little seagull friend, and I stamped it in crumb cake. And then I colored the bottom in the light soft suede. And for the rope on here, I used, I think it was dark smoky slate. Let me just check because I've got the marker here. Yes, dark smoky slate. So I just used the fine tip and colored that in like this, just to give it that definition. And then colored around it with the dark, or with the light soft suede. So that's what you do for that. And I bumped it up with dimensionals. That was the only thing I used dimensionals on. And I want to show you the cloud pieces too. These are from the die set. I don't know, you probably can't see it so well on camera, but there's little definition in here. There's embossing. It cuts out the outline, but there's embossing that looks like a couple of birds. And this one has embossing on the bottom. So I cut out one big one and two small ones. And those I'll just put on with probably my Stampin' Seal. And then the birds are dies, and I put adhesive sheets on the back. So those are just peel and stick also. And then of course we have our sentiment, and I used our friendship is a thing of beauty on the outside. And then on the inside, I stamped them again, this time in Pacific Point. And also I used the sentiment, the happy birthday in Pacific Point. And then there's a stamp in the set, this little tiny bird. And I just stamped that 3 times to give the inside a little bit of, pretty it up, I guess, a little bit, make it a little more interesting. And then of course, last but not least, I used those wonderful Waves Jewels. And then for the envelope, like I said, when I stamped the inside, I also stamped one on the envelope of that seagull. So that's it. I'm not going to take too much more time to put everything together, but I know that many of you watch every week and you know exactly how to do it. So that was my process. The wave section first, then the sentiment. And so when I did my stamping, then I stamped on the inside and the envelope. Same thing, and then the birds. And then I came back and started assembling, just kind of decided where I wanted the rest of the pieces on the top to go. And I wanted this for sure to cover the edge. I also thought about using a slightly smaller piece of Balmy Blue, and I may try that if I have time, we'll see. And making it instead of just using the card front, using maybe a basic white card base and then cutting that first layer down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches or 10 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters. So that there would be a base, then a mat of white around the edge. And I thought that might look good too. And if that were the case, I would move this over a little bit so that the edges of this was still the Balmy Blue. But I was sort of going back and forth and I ended up just using the Balmy Blue card base. But that's another idea. If you want just a little bit more of a frame around it, that might look nice to pick up the white that's in the design that you're doing. So either way, but that is it. That is our card for today and our scrapbook page. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you watching every week. Remember, like I said, the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is still on sale for a couple more weeks for 20% off. And there are a number of bundles that are also 20% off. So take advantage of that. Reach out to me if you want to place an order, or I have a host code going. So if you're placing the order yourself and it's under $150, reach out and I'll give you the host code. If it's 150 or more, take those host rewards for yourself. Don't use that host code. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.